Thanks, Chris, and thank all of you for being here. Appreciate your time, and what a cool time for our sport. Just the growth continues to amaze us that are involved in it, and surrounding players, coaches, and awareness. So it's a pretty cool time. It's definitely a unique season for us in a lot of ways. We have a third of our team has never been here before, a third is really experienced, and somewhere in between. So a variety of things going on, and which kind of points me in a direction we just need more time in preseason to get everything ironed out and training. And I know there's been news about that in the volleyball world, but having an extra week like football and to get involved in it would really help incorporate some of those people into what we're doing. But we have a lot of experience, we have a lot of new faces, we have All-Americans returning, we have people that aren't highly recruited on the roster, we have everything in between. But through player meetings the last couple of days, had a lot of excitement and really enjoy this team and training. And I think it's our schedule kind of speaks for itself. We've never shied away from playing tough teams, and this is no exception. And the goal of the schedule is to always try and put yourself in position to play your best volleyball in November, December. I think the schedule will obviously get us to that point. One of the things that I think excites me, and every coach is excited at the beginning of their year, but is seeing new people, senior players evolve from the previous year, seeing people get better. But one of the questions you always ask is, what's your bigger purpose with our players? And then we asked them to have a writing assignment that said, why are you here? In today's climate of college athletics, with everything going on, I think there needs to be more than just play a sport. It needs to be something bigger than that, and NIL, transfer portal, the buzzwords that are happening. I just constantly remind our players of that, and we've got some amazing responses to it, so it's pretty cool. But looking forward to Friday against Marquette and Ohio on Sunday, two very good programs that are had great years last year, and looking forward to getting the season going.
Okay, we'll start with questions for those on site here.
You mentioned, Greg, your roster has a mix of everything, but at the top you got a girl in Johnny Taylor that you've been able to rely on for years here. Just what's it like to have that leadership from her, but also that star power that she can bring right off the bat?
Yeah, what you get with a Johnny every day, and you're going to get explosive athleticism, you're going to get presence, you're going to get leadership, you're going to get effort. You're going to get someone that cares a lot about her own development, but also cares a lot about her teammates' development. You have a lot of trust and faith in her. She can score points, she can block. Just her willingness to give herself to the team, regardless of what position she's played, because we moved her around, is something I think that a lot of younger players in the sport need to look up to someone like that. And she obviously impacts our team and will again this year. Her legacy will be bigger than that for sure, though.
And looking at just volleyball as a whole, you kind of touched on it in your statement, but the fact that the Big Ten is having their own volleyball media day, there's just more TV time, more coverage. Just how much have you enjoyed seeing that aspect of all over the last couple of years?
It's awesome. I mean, our players, deserve that opportunity to tell their story and talk about their sport and their team. And, we're certainly not going to start on top of the mountain, but we can start somewhere at the bottom or in the middle and give our sport a chance to be recognized by the bigger markets. So seeing the ACC do what they've done, see what South Dakota volleyball high school volleyball had media days by a company called Adrenaline Volleyball the other day. I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing for our sport to see that happening, and we have a challenge. We have the great sport of football that's during our season, and so we have to find ways to get recognized, and those things help.
Greg, how nice was it to have just a normal off-season? Obviously last year was a quick turnaround for everything. How nice was it just to have a normal off-season to go through everything, and do you feel like that also, that quick turnaround factored into some of the injuries from last year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because one of our favorite times of the year as coaches is the winter and the spring, because you see people evolve and do things that they haven't done before. And Reagan Rutherford, for example, has improved more than anybody on our team. And I don't think she would have been able to do that if we didn't have all that time. And she's doing special things out there. And people like Jordan Williams, who had an Achilles injury, we had time to get in the gym with her. Another example was Elaine Jenkins came from Loyola Chicago, and when she got here, she wasn't ready to contribute. Now she's ready to contribute, and we feel comfortable with her playing out there for us. So, But getting strong, getting healthy, have weekends to spend time with family, friends, and not just focused on volleyball. Having coaches get time to get away and vacations with their family and friends, and all really important. And you know, as coaches say, it can't just be all about your sports. So what else is it about? And the spring and summer gave us a little bit more time to get into those areas.
Chris kind of touched on at the top, just having those three marquee non-conference opponents at home. I guess Louisville means the return game. I think Wisconsin was probably a return game as well. But just getting those teams in such a short span of time, what does that say about this program, and what do you hope it will do for you guys come November or December?
Well, we've always aspired to be, you know, the best, and you know, that's not the sole purpose of this program, but to compete with the best, you find out a lot about yourself. I mean, two of those, they're all Louisville. We play every year, obviously. Nebraska is part of a 4-year deal we have with Louisville, Stanford, Nebraska, and us. So we'll be at Nebraska next year and at Stanford the following year, and you know, every other with Louisville. So that's that. Wisconsin's return from last year. But how cool is do we get them in Memorial Coliseum in a span of 10 days? I mean, if people have never seen volleyball, they're going to get a chance to see some of the highest, you know, if not the highest in the country, for a long time to come. So it's going to be a great opportunity, great challenge for us to see what we're made of, great chance to get some wins, great chance, but more importantly, it's going to get us ready for November, December.
Craig, you've always been a huge ambassador for the sport. We look around and it's exploding everywhere internationally in the Northeast, but it seems like in the South it's taken a little while to get hold of it. If you're the emperor, what do you do? What would you like to see done to kind of enhance it a little bit more?
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's grown so much, and I don't want to say that we're not there yet, but I mean, we're not quite there yet. But I think that now, because there's so many people playing, we need more good quality coaches coaching the high schools, coaching the clubs, and all that type of stuff. And it's happening, but that's a slow process. It's just like when you're trying to be the greatest at something, it can't happen tomorrow. It's going to take some time. And so, you know, the number of people playing in the state now is way different. I mean, the biggest club in America is in Atlanta, Georgia. In 2006, it wasn't even a club. And so, but being more on television, being more high-level matches like we're playing against Nebraska, Wisconsin, being, you know, maybe the SEC considers having an SEC championship to garner interest, you know, at the end of the season. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I mean, the evolution of college sports, I wish I had a perfect answer for that, John. I don't.
Do you feel like you're getting enough support internally from the administration to be able to kind of promote your team?
I mean, we have, you know, everything that we could ask for in terms of how we travel and how we dress, how we perform. I mean, you know, as we've witnessed, every coach is going to fight like crazy for themselves, for their players, and you know, all that type of stuff. That's the nature of competitors. And so, do I say it's a perfect world? No, it's not. But I say we're given a lot, and we're going to take care of everything we have and strive for more at the same time. So, you know, looking forward to the future of Memorial Coliseum, looking forward to the future of SEC volleyball with more great coaches coming in, and I think with that, you'll see the growth continue.
Just kind of going off that, something that Mitch hinted at the other day was Memorial Coliseum improvements and renovations. What would, you know, making this facility better do for your program?
Well, I mean, you're always looking for, you know, progressive things happening, and so, you know, when you talk to recruits and talk to club coaches, you know what's happening, what's new, what's going on, and there's things that we've done with our recruiting room and locker room and how we travel, and the upgrade to Memorial Coliseum is a significant, you know, advancement on a facility that's a special venue. And so, you know, we all like new things, and you know, it's a great time, and we've earned the opportunity to get that chance to, you know, have those things happen. And you know, when you walk in there, when it's, you know, all said and done, I think our players, our fans, and future recruits will really enjoy it.
For some of your younger players, and some of your players that you still have that were part of that national championship team, so for some of the younger players that didn't maybe contribute a lot to that team, that are now having a chance to contribute, how did that, seeing that success in real time, that this program can win a national title, how does that fuel them, you think, as they're getting ready for a run here?
Well, I mean, we all wish we could guarantee every year to recruits that we're going to win the national championship. And so obviously having one, it helps you talk about it. But I think what it has done for the returning players our future recruits is what the winning mentality is needed to win at the highest level. And so when you see people like Maddie Brezowitz, when you see people like Ajani Teeler, when you see people like Elise Getzinger, Bella Bell, who were younger players on this team at that moment, they knew what those players before them, what they did every day, how they acted, what their mindset was, how they responded to failure, how they responded to success. And when they tell you in a meeting earlier today that they're having the most fun they've ever had playing volleyball, that says a lot about the tradition, it says a lot about the culture, and it says a lot about the people within your program. They can still say that after 3 years of COVID, all the grind we've been through, the success we've had, the failures we've had, and they're still looking for more. That's what, as coaches, we're proud of, for sure.
Greg, you mentioned Johnny right off the top. And looking back at her freshman year, when she just kind of exploded on the scene, but, you know, the errors were coming, and now, you know, her percentage is so great. Can you talk a little bit about her evolution as a player? And I know it's hard work, but how has she managed to clean up her game to the point where she is now?
Just the commitment to excellence every day. I mean, you know, Dawn Staley wrote a quote for her days, like, greatness doesn't happen today. It's accumulation of day after day after day. And if you would come in on Ajani's worst day personally, or come in on her best day personally, you would not know the difference being an outsider or as a coach. And so when you have that type of commitment each day, success is inevitable. You know, whether you play your best game of all time, each time you compete, that's not going to happen, but you have the best chance to have that happen. And Ajani gives herself the best chance to be successful in game time because of all the time and energy she's put into each workout, each ball control drill, which she rarely does in our game, each point scoring drill, each serving drill. But you can feel and sense her passion all the time. And, you know, don't want to, you know, it's a snowball effect. It just builds and builds and builds, and she's earning it.
Have you seen it rubbing off on the younger players?
For sure. I mean, she saw people older than her doing that all the time. She saw Gabby Curry doing it. She saw Madison Lilly doing it. She saw Lee Edmond doing it. She's seen all these former players, Madison, you know, all these do it. So if you're looking at Zion Teeler, there's no way you don't notice her presence, first of all. No way you don't notice her ability, second of all. But then her purpose for each drill is the same. And if you're a freshman, you're like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to do this mundane drill that I don't really like doing, but this person makes it look like I should be doing it. So it's fun to see.
Greg, last year we were all excited to see Jordan Williams, and then she has the injury. What can we expect from her this year?
Well, she, you know, first week or so, she was a little bit kind of timid, you know, getting there, but the last 10 days or so, Jordan is really starting to get back to where she was. I wouldn't say she's 100%, you know, maybe 80, 85%. But Jordan is one of the best read blockers that we've ever coached. I mean, she is very quick. Her eye work is unbelievable when she sees the ball leave the setter's hands. She's extremely fast off the ground. We had a scrimmage the other day on Friday, and she probably block touched 15 out of 25 balls she had the opportunity to, which is a really ridiculous percentage. She's got to get better offensively, killing the ball and transition and stuff like that. But when it's all said and done and her career is over, she will be, if not the best read blocker we've ever had, and that is a huge part of defense.
Every year you talk about athleticism. It seems to get better and better every year. What can we look for in the team in terms of athleticism this year?
Well, you talk about people like Ajani. We've talked about Reagan Rutherford, elite athletes. Emma Grome's an elite athlete. Eleanor Bevan, elite athlete in her position. Donna Rollins, who came from Penn State, is an elite athlete in her position. You know, whoever ends up being starting other middle, you know, Bella Bell, Elise Getzinger, Jordan Williams, great athletes. You know, so we have those athletes, and now what pieces to the puzzle do we put together? How does it work? What system do we run? You know, most of our offensive production last year came from the left side of the net, you know, with Allie and Maddie, and you know, so Aaron Lamb and Donna Rollins are going to be our starters. You know, do we want to rely on them like we did last year? No, we want more balance. We want people all across the net, in the back row, on the left side, right side, utilizing that athleticism you're talking about to score points in a lot of different ways.
So how much of a difficult task is it when you have to replace both Allie and Maddie at the same time? And I guess how have you gone about, you know, trying to do that while also not trying to exactly replicate what they brought to the team?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, you have that much offensive firepower leave and that much experience with Allie playing that position for a long time. Certainly not easy, but that's what we have to find out, and that's what we will find out quickly with our schedule is, okay, this is working in our training. I do wish we had more time, because there's still things offensively we have not put in yet because we're still trying to iron out. Okay, in this rotation, we're going to go behind and Reagan here. In this rotation, we want to get Ajani involved, not just in the middle, but on the left. In this rotation, we want Aaron Lamb to maybe hit in the middle third of the court. In this rotation, we want to have a back row attack. So we want to have 6 or 7 things that opponents have to prepare for, not just 2 or 3 or 4. And last year, they probably could have watched our video in a half hour. Hopefully this year, they have to watch it for 3.5 hours. So.
On that note, obviously, coming into the season, new team, not a lot of film out there. So is there a grace period early on in the season where it's kind of more about working on our stuff rather than, we'll also have the balance of trying to win the games against the opponents?
100% accurate. I mean, we have no real sense of what Marquette's going to do on Friday. We know some of their players. There's a couple returning, a bunch of new faces. So if we're consumed with the Marquette, we're really going to lose out on what we need to do on our side of the net. So we are solely focused on Kentucky this week to get ready. We won't have a chance to see Ohio either. We've agreed with them. We're not going to scout them in person, on Saturday when they play Marquette here. So it's Wednesday in practice, Thursday in practice, taking care of a few things on our side of the net, and just let our players play. We got to let them play. We can't have them thinking too much this weekend.
In your time here, have you ever seen a top 25 with so many different geographical pockets? I mean, it seems like, there's obviously always going to have the West Coast, but I mean, there's top 25 teams from almost everywhere in the country that put dots everywhere. So what does that say about?
Yeah, Alex, I mean, I would challenge anybody to find a sport that has as much or more parity than volleyball right now. It is incredible the number of really good teams everywhere. And not just Power 5 conferences, but other conferences as well. And they're all Division I athletes, and they all compete at a high level. Every weekend we go out this next 3 or 4 weeks, any one of these teams can compete to win. That is awesome. I mean, because going back to John's point about growing the game in the South, it has grown unbelievable, and that's why there's so much parity all over the place, because from Florida to Seattle and Maine to Arizona, I mean, there's players everywhere. So it's pretty cool to turn on the TV and watch a volleyball match and go, I don't know who's going to win this. So.
And yet you've won 5 straight Southeastern Conference championships. How has that changed your relationships with other coaches as you go around? I mean, are they hailing you or praising you? How is that?
I don't think it works that way in our business. Certainly, just like when we were at the bottom trying to catch up, and we wanted everything to do to beat Florida, to beat Tennessee at the time. I mean, we'll do everything, and you find and hear things that people say about you that aren't as glowing as you'd like to see, and how you think you represent stuff. And we unintentionally broke a rule this summer, and all of a sudden we're turned in by 4 SEC schools. Like, I just pick up the phone and call them. I have no problem. I've turned myself in for stuff. So there's little stuff like that happens here and there.
You talked about having a larger purpose. Let's talk about the trip down to Eastern Kentucky and what you and the team took from that.
I don't know if we have enough time, but what we're doing is pales in comparison to what's going on in people's lives out there. And you don't really have a picture of it until you're standing there next to those people and the loss, and people that have nothing lost everything. So they had nothing beforehand, then they lost it all again. If we can put smiles on people's faces by being there, if we can put a little bit of hope in some people's eyes by just the way we play the game of volleyball, we're all for it. And we try each year to do something that is not about a sport. And even yesterday, Maria Taylor talking to our team and just hearing her journey and her story. It was never just about sports for her. It was about bigger stuff and more important things. And that was a special day and heartbreaking. And, we just continue to try and bring some awareness out there because they still need it.
Anything else from the room? Okay. Are there any folks on our Zoom that have a question for Coach? If so, you can go ahead and raise your hand on there, and Greg will unmute your line. Okay, go ahead, Larry.
Hey, Greg, I'd kind of like to ask you what you did for violation sneak on by. But talk a little bit about your transfers and how quickly you think they're all going to fit in this year, what you think they can do.
Larry, is your car not working today?
They had that little disease and nobody wants to be around.
Okay. I'm just kidding. We have 3 transfers. Elaine Jenkins, who's from right here in Lexington, played at Lafayette, and she's a setter. And again, her eyes were open at this level when she first got here in January. Now she's pushing to be on the court, and every day, and we have some competition. Her team is competing to win. So she's a great setter of the ball and doing a great job. Kelly Franksman from Xavier, from Taylor Mill, Kentucky, decided to come here and graduated, getting her MBA right now, and she's got a great arm, hits a heavy ball, and needs to be ready to come in off the bench, when we need her. But she's got a lot of experience and great IQ of the game. Donna Rollins is a tremendous athlete. Played at Minnesota for 3 years and Penn State for a year, and really can execute all skills. And the cool thing about her is I still don't even think she's close to what her ceiling is going to be. So it's, I wish we had all spring to work on it, but each day and each week she makes progress in her game, and I think you'll see her do some fascinating things on the floor. And so they've all impacted our program already, and certainly going to the rest of the season.
Do another one there, or you good?
Could you just talk a little about Haley Melby too?
Haley is, a freshman. She got here in June, and she's from Munster, Indiana. Played at, club program in Chicago, and she is athletically gifted. She needs a little bit more time to catch up to the speed of the game, and the things that we're asking. She was out a little bit in preseason with a minor injury, and so it's going to take her some time, but it's all said and done with her. She's going to be a lead attacker, high above the net, really good blocker, and I think going to execute all skills at the left side position once she gets more experience.